available in your agency only. And by looking them up, you don't have to scroll through and find them. Here is my hiring manager, Jill, I'm using in this example. And you're welcome to put in a response due date or leave it blank. And if you've made an error, you can always use the handy trash can to delete that row and start over. I am going to make a comment to my hiring manager, and I will say, hi, Jill. Here are your applicants. And I would say more like for review, and please send them back to me and let me know if you have any questions. And you can preview my notification. I can do spell check on my notification. And then I can submit. And I put a checkbox here, notify me when a recipient responds. So I'll get an email notification when the hiring manager takes action on the candidate. So submit. And that's all that's required to forward applicants. You can forward one, you can forward them as a group, and then I get the message that says you have successfully routed the selected applicants. So, okay. So again, this is an example of a hiring manager that I did not place on my job opening. And so where I'm going to navigate next is to that hiring manager that I routed to. So I need to sign out as a recruiter. I am, as a hiring manager, going to be logging into self-serve. And that's where I'm going to find the applicants that were routed to me. So as a hiring manager of Jill, I'm logging into self-service. I am looking for interview team activity. And by navigating to that tab, it is bringing up the choices I have available to me in interview team activity. And what I'm looking for is the routing response. There are also other items here. If you used open-ended questions and they needed to evaluate those, this is where you navigate to. If you wanted to set up interviews in the calendar, interview team schedule, and then this is the list of claimers that are very similar to what we had available in the other system. So we're navigating to routing response. And this is, real time. I, as a recruiter, sent these three just moments ago, and they're here and available to that hiring manager. And what the hiring manager then will do is they will click on the applicant name, and they will be able to view, there's a link for viewing job application and view job posting. So if they need a little refresher about, well, what was my posting again? What were my qualifications? They could review the job posting and then review the application. And in the application, there is everything that the applicant would have completed on the job application. If they did upload a resume, the link would be here, and they could click that link on, and then it would show the resume that they had uploaded completely intact in whatever format they submitted. So that's the nice caveat with this new system. They can view the screening questions by navigating to this View Questionnaire link. and it shows how they responded. And they do have an option if they would click the print in the upper left-hand corner. It is a nice way to view the job application and the questionnaire, the screening questions. It, however, does not display the resume. So here you can see that they were an RSV, their work experience, education, area of study, degrees, license, certifications, language, the screening questions and their answers. Here's an example of an open-ended one, and contact information. So again, the only thing that would be missing is information that they submitted on their resume. Click out of that window, and it would bring you back to the applicant. So to go back to the page, navigate as you do in self-service is at the top with the breadcrumbs, the routing response, and it would bring you back to your group. So to make the note about they reviewed the application, they reviewed the resume, and here's a candidate that they want to take some action on, they can route them. These are the only two choices for the hiring manager. They can route, and that would be routing it back to the recruiter with a comment about what action the recruiter would take, or invite them for an interview. And these two options do not do anything but notify the recruiter of what their intent is and actions that they want taken on the applicant. It does not change the applicant's status. Only the recruiter in this, what I would call limited hiring manager view, has the ability to do that. So this is only a notification to you, the recruiter. So I'm going to say that this individual, they want to mark for interview, and there's no comments on this particular one. If they did, they could do a spell check is available, and then move on to the next candidate, or they could just submit if they ran out of time and only wanted to do one and needed to do something else, or they can run through the whole group. So by clicking next, I'm not sure why that message came up, but we'll look into that. And then it brought me my next candidate. I can review the application. Again, the job posting is a link available. And I reviewed this individual, and I decided that, you know, the other candidates, there's this one didn't have all of the preferred qualifications, so there's just others that are more qualified. And that's the message that then you as a recruiter can see. And I'm going to go next. And we'll have to make that go away. And this one I'm going to invite for an interview as well. And that was all. I had 3 candidates in this situation, so I'm going to hit submit. I'm done. You have successfully submitted your response. And now what I'd like to do is to go back as the recruiter so that you can see the what you would see after the hiring manager had made their comments and the actions and the next steps you would take.
So these didn't get submitted, so you probably have to click submit again because they're still on your pending.
Why would that be?
I don't know. You have to click submit.
Well, so for some reason these 2 got left behind, but I'm in a test environment, and so sometimes we expect things to run a little different. Okay, now they're all gone. They've all been routed. And I'm navigating out and in of these sites just to not cause me any trouble. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the recruiter. Browse my job opening. That will give me my jobs. And I was in this job, customer services specialist. And nothing has changed. The actions that the hiring manager took did not make any changes to my applicants. I will go in, I want to see the people in my route bucket. Those were the ones I routed to the hiring manager. And then just to recap, they were in screen. I routed them. They got moved to the route bucket. And now I want to go into the application of my applicants. These were the ones that the hiring manager had reviewed. And to see what they did, I would navigate to this Route tab. And I can see that Jill responded with an invite for interview. If there were comments, I could see them here by clicking on navigating to this comment box. And now as the recruiter, I want to change their status and invite this individual for an interview. So I could select other actions, recruiter actions, edit disposition. And the new disposition is interview. And I'm going to invite for a phone interview and save. So then I could navigate to the next applicant and review their routing comments. Again, click on the Route tab, view the comments, response from the hiring manager, invite for interview. I'm going to change their status. Interview, phone interview. Go to next. And the Route tab. And I'm reviewing the comment from Jill. She routed a response, but I need to click on this icon that's under comments to be able to see what the status was. Others more qualified. So with that, I'm going to use this icon here of reject and change their status with the reason of others more qualified. And reject. And I'm gone through my applicants and I want to navigate back to the job opening page and move out of the applications. And now I should see status has changed. I have my 3 that were enrouted, 2 moved to interview, and another 1 moved to reject. As you recall, when I screened, 2 people were rejected, failing screening, and now I have 1 more that is in the reject section. So the next step is I would wait for the notice from the hiring manager after they've completed their interviews and your normal business processes of how you connect with each other. But I want to just show you in the system then how to prepare for a job offer and then how to prepare for hire. So I'm clicking on the interview tab, and the hiring manager has informed me that they would like to hire Terry. And I will go to other actions, recruiting actions, and prepare job offer. Here is my opportunity to change the position control number if I had put the wrong one in or didn't put one in, or needed to update it because I put one in just for the time being to get the job posted. So you should verify that the position control number is the correct one. It defaults most of the information you need in here. You don't need to necessarily add a hiring manager or recruiter in here. Here's what you do need to fill in is the job offer component. And in the component drop-down box, you do need to select base salary. And you do need to put in an offer amount. And I'm going to put in 17. And this is defaulted in the recommended salary ranges from Semaphore. You are welcome to put a comment in here that the applicant would see.
Yes.
And then on the right-hand column here, offer date. I'm going to leave it as the current date, but you could put that in advance. Start date. Oh, Kirsten said don't change the offer date.
Just leave the default.
Leave the default. Start date, I'm going to put for the 31st, and offer expiration has to be on or before the start date.
I just copy the start date. And
good suggestion. Oops. You will get an error message if this isn't updated, so that's nice. I would catch that.
Click the position number already.
All right, and so now I'm ready to submit. And it says you have successfully submitted Terry's job offer. Terry has not received anything yet, but this is just the process of preparing. So okay. Now I now have available this under offer letter, upload letter, and this is where you would look for and add, upload your offer letter for this candidate. We do not have any templates in here just because every agency is very unique in their offer letters. So here's where you would upload it. It gives you, when you click it on,
Yeah.
well, some issues with our test environment. But here's where you can upload your letter. And then you would post.
If you have other documents, should I talk about that?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Kirsten has some good tips.
So at this point, if you have other documents that you'd like to upload rather than, in addition to your offer letter, you would select the Edit Offer link. That's okay. So this is just a preview of the offer that you're submitting. So to open up the other attachments, you would click the Edit Offer link. And as you see, we'll open up the Add Applicant Attachment button. The state is not using the Add Organizational Attachment button at this time. But this is where you would add other documents other than your offer letter. And so now you see that Teresa, once she's uploaded another attachment, she'll have to click the Submit link again and say OK. And did you post? You must have posted.
I did post.
Yes.
Yep.
So she posted the job offer already. So now the applicant has received an email notification, and they would log into their careers account in self-service and open their My Notifications link to review the offer letter and to accept it online.
Thank you. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I am going to go ahead and accept the job offer. We would want the applicant to take that action.
You have to be in the offer bucket.
Oh, I'm not in the offer bucket.
There we go.
It's for good reason. It moved from my the one applicant from the interview bucket to the offer bucket, so make sure you're on the right tab. And so here's my Terry. Terry, I want to, for just the purposes of this, accept his offer, but we would encourage or want you to allow the applicant to accept their own offer. This is not anything you can do. You have successfully accepted the offer is the message I receive. And then I can now prepare for hire. So here you can see that you can no longer change the position control number at this stage. So again, just really important to make sure you have it when you're making the job offer. And here, this is a internal employee. So it will give us options for internal employees. And for this person, it's a transfer. It may be a promotion, it may be a lateral, it may be a demotion. But again, for the purposes of handing over our hire from Recruiting Solutions to Semaphore, we need to use the word transfer, which is really transferring this person over to HR. And it could be because they're receiving a promotion, a demotion, or it's just a transfer. And you could make some comments that the Semaphore transaction staff will see here. Oops, I'm having issues. Okay. And submit request to HR is a tab you would navigate to. And you have successfully submitted this request. And now you can see that they moved from offer to the hire bucket. And so the last step would be communicating with your applicants that were in the reject pile and also taking action on your other interview.
Hi.
And
still on for 1:30?
This one for the applicants in the interview bucket, and I want to go ahead and edit the disposition. And I'm going to reject, oops, and have a reason of others more qualified, save, and now it moved that applicant from the interview to the reject. And here in the reject, I could do a group action, or I could do individual letters for our applicants. So if I wanted to select them all and do a group action, applicant action, and send correspondence. And I believe Kirsten had showed this in the WebEx a couple of weeks ago. But you can, there are some default letters in here that you can use.
And all of the letter templates that are selected here at the drop-down are available on the extranet for you to view. You can also preview this point as well, but a subject is required.
And the job ID would be recommended.
And just to note, on the recipient information, you can see that everyone's listed on the two, but that doesn't mean they'll all see, only the person, they won't all see who received this letter. So this is an additional notification to the applicant. If they've been rejected already and you've had selected the notify applicant, they would have received a notification already. But this is a good practice for people that you did interview. You can send them a group correspondence.
Okay. So do we want to take any questions at this point? And then what I have left on the list is then to show you what would the hiring manager view be if you added them as a hiring manager in what we call the full view. What you saw today was the limited view. They would navigate to the routing, in self-service to routing and take action that way. So we could take a couple of questions, and then I could stage the scenario for the full hiring manager view.
Do you want to, should we take a couple questions? Because you're right on this page. So one of the questions that came in is, can you view the notices you have sent to applicants or view whether you have sent notices to certain applicants? And the answer is yes. If you click on an applicant name on the link, if you click on their name, and it will bring you to the Manage Applicants page when the wheel of death stops spinning. Sorry. And then you can see on their on the Notes tab, you can see if they've had notifications or things sent here. It doesn't look like that's working in this environment, but that's where you would see any communications that were sent. If you click the, oh, go ahead. And so Teresa clicked return to come back to the Manage Job Opening page. But that's where you would have to go to the Manage Applicants page to see what notifications the applicant did receive.
Okay, and related to that, how do we get notified once the applicant accepts the offer?
You actually need to go back to your Manage Job Opening page to see their status. That will change from offer to accepted. We don't have alerts turned on yet at this point in Recruiting Solutions. So, can a recruiter copy and paste into routing comments field? Yes, you certainly can. When you're sending routing, you can copy and paste a letter or whatever you want in there. What did I see? I saw one. If we have our own job offer letter template, do we need to do the prepare the job offer step? And the answer is yes. You can. We don't have a template there for you to choose from on the job offer. That is your own job offer letter that you've saved to your documents that you're uploading. You're not selecting a template as a job offer. So you can use your own job offer letter.
I'm going to go ahead and, while you're looking at some other questions, to respond to setting up the next scenario.
Sure. While Tress is navigating, I'll try to answer some more questions. So there's a question about why are there not more status options available when routing for a search committee? Can we talk about decisions not to have more options available to team members? So the options that are available are based on row level security in Semaphore. So as a recruiter, you're only able to route to people in your agency. So if your search committee is outside your agency, you would need to send a different email with applicant information to them. Are you ready to go?
I am. So we'll take more questions, so certainly feel free to continue to submit. But I do want to show you what would be the full view. So in this job opening, I did add, under the hiring team tab below details, I added a hiring manager. And so Kara is now added as a primary hiring manager. I'm going to go back to my applicants and show you, I'm in the screen bucket, and I have 3 applicants. I did go ahead and route 1 just to make sure it worked, but I have 3 more that I want to route. I'm going to select all and group action, recruiter action, and route applicants. And as you can see, this is different from the one I did earlier. It already populated Kara in this example. Because I had added her as a hiring manager. I could remove it. I could add a different hiring manager or person that I'm sending this to and make, again, a comment of please review and comment. And I could have a date that I want them to respond by, and then I'm clicking the checkbox that's defaulted in, notify me when a recipient responds, and submit. So those 3 applicants are now sent to the hiring manager for review. I'm going to now navigate to the hiring manager.
There's a question here about sending an offer letter. Isn't that impersonal? Shouldn't the applicant be called?
Absolutely.
Yes, we would definitely encourage you to call as well as the letter.
Yeah, make the verbal job offer and then follow up. This is the follow-up of the written.
Yeah, and the job offer is the start of the manage hire process. You're getting paperwork ready for them to accept. They have to fill some information out when they accept the job offer online, and for them to be able to do that, you need to do the prepare job offer step.
So I'm showing you what it would look like for Kara to come in and view her job opening as a hiring manager. when I navigate into self-service, there is still the interview team activity, and there still is the routing responses, and because I routed them to her, she still has the ability to do the same thing I just showed you by navigating to the route, and they would be here, and she could do the same thing I did for this, what I call the limited view. So she gets both. She has this option available to her as a hiring manager added to the team, and she has...
Before you can continue, Teresa, I want to answer. So we have a question about once a hiring manager has responded to this routing response, how do they see their applicant list? So how they can do that from here by changing their routing response status from pending to invite for interview, or they can see all. So they can see, if they change their route response status, they will be able to see the applicants that they've already responded to. And then if she clicks the refresh button, it will show them all, it will show all, or whatever she has selected for a route response.
And I can't show you that because these are the only applicants that I have routed, so there's not more to see at this point. Thank you. So the other way to navigate for the hiring manager is to the hiring manager recruiter tasks and search job opening. So you'll see that they have the same features that you have in the recruiting home, job opening, browse, and search, and create. Here's where they could create a job opening as well. And again, they don't have the ability to post it to the web, but they would have the ability to start creating that job opening and sending it to the next step, which would be the recruiter to finalize. So I'm navigating to the search job openings. And
by association.
I'm going to, by my association, look for open.
Yep.
You could give them the job ID number, but the position would have been 1422, and you could have put that in the message for them to see to help them find it quicker. So.
And can I just add, we've had a couple of questions on how do hiring managers see their applicant list if they have multiple jobs open, and this is one option for you to use. You can add them to your hiring team, and so then you can see, they can see the applicant list by the job opening.
So this is the full manager, hiring manager view. It defaults to place them in route so that these are the candidates that they focus on and take action on. However, they are able to go and look at all of these statuses and look at them. And in this situation, then what they should do, or what you have them do, is navigate to the application, or you could have them select all, group action. Uh-oh.
They don't have group action.
Oh, well, it was working earlier.
Hiring managers do not have a group action available. They have to look at their applicants one at a time.
Okay. So they would navigate to the application. They could use the print, as I showed you before, that would give them a view of the application and the screening questions. However, if they did upload a resume, they would need to click on it in here to review that resume, in addition to their application and screening questions. All right.
Teresa, here's a question. If supervisors are given the limited view option and a recruiter is working with them on 2 separate vacancies and routes 2 separate applicant lists to them, can the supervisor distinguish between the 2 lists and see which applicants are associated with the different job openings?
No, you can't. In the routing response, you can sort by days, but not by job ID. At this time, we do have that as a future phase item to work on. So we know that request has come from several people, so we know that that's a need, and we are addressing that. I do want to point out, while Teresa is logged in as a hiring manager, something that is different than a recruiter is that when a hiring manager clicks on the application, it opens a new browser window. So when they review the applicant, they're in a new browser window. When they're finished reviewing, and this is in their instructions, they would close that browser window. So that's a little bit different action than what a recruiter will see.
So when they do want to take action, they would click Other Actions, Recruiting Actions, and edit this position. And again, they have a limited choice. They don't have the same as you. There's no reject. Once an applicant is placed in reject, you're not able to move it out of that bucket at this time. So we want to be careful. So here they can mark someone to interview, and I'm going to do phone interview, and it will update their status, moving it from route to interview, which is different than what you saw the hiring manager do in the limited view. The recruiter had to take action for it to move into this interview bucket. So with the full view, a hiring manager is able to change dispositions, but they have a limited number of dispositions they can change from. And one of them is not, they can't do the offer, hire, or reject. I'll do one more example of other actions on an applicant, recruiting actions, edit disposition, and this one they're going to route back with a comment.
Continued interest.
And then the recruiter would be able to see their status. Okay? And I'll one more to interview. And as you can see, it updated. And in the interview, if the hiring manager was ready to make a job offer, they could notify again the, they could route them and notify the recruiter of their interest. So that, they can't change their status. Again, to offer, hire, or reject, they would need to communicate with you as they do now of their interest in moving forward with an offer. So should we move on to taking some more questions?
I have the background check done after conditional job offer. Isn't that, I can't read that, sorry. True? Isn't that true? Why did the recruiter do a background check before forwarding to hiring manager? Yeah, we'll have to look into that question. So a background check is done outside of the system. You would do that before your job offer was processed. So, yeah, I mean, every job class is unique and different. There are statutory reasons that you have to conduct, you can conduct a background check before, and statutory reasons that you can't. So it really depends on your agency and the job classes you have and what
what obligations you have with regards to how you conduct your background checks. So none of background checks have changed. You still follow your current processes with them and conduct them outside the system at the same time you do now. Does a hiring supervisor have to complete the routing response? No. If you, as a recruiter, you know, if you recall, in Lori Hansen's, she had conducted a WebEx and a town hall meeting, and she talked about your options for hiring managers. One is they don't have to be in the system at all. You could route them and they could have this limited view, and then the other option is they could have the full view.
Yeah. Is the, go ahead, I can't read that, sorry.
Which one?
What is the purpose of the hold option and or when would it be used? So, go ahead.
A couple of things. I think one thing that I forgot to mention when I was showing the screening is when you start with your applicants in applied and you run screening, it leaves the duplicates in applied. And we were instructing you to, for any of the duplicates, to move them to hold, just as a way to move them out of the applied bucket. The other purpose that an agency may want to use hold is that you have a continued interest and you don't want to, you're not ready to reject them, but you could still leave them in interviewed or in, you know, route. I mean, it doesn't have to be an action taken on them. It's up to you of how you want to use the hold, but we do have it specifically reserved for duplicates. And if you want to just place them in hold for any other reason, that they're, you know, your second candidate in the event that your first job offer doesn't go through, that they decide not to take it, and that's where you want to place your second top candidate. But it's okay to leave them in the interview status or route while you're making a job offer. Do you have anything to add, Kirsten?
No, I think that's perfect. That's fine. Use hold. You can also, once you've placed an applicant on hold, that's the one status where you can move them back to route or interview. You can change the disposition backwards. It's the only disposition that allows that. We have a question about the interest. It's the 3 stars with the X. Will a hiring manager see the interest that a recruiter has indicated? And the answer is no. That is only for the recruiter of that job opening will see if they've indicated an interest, as well as if you're logged in as a hiring manager. It's similar to just categorizing your Outlook calendar, for example, and color coding your appointments. It's a view only. It's not reportable. And other recruiters and other managers will not see which stars you've selected.
I noticed that you sent the LAC quals letter at the time you made an offer. What happens with the appeal process?
So the message in the letter, in the template, has the appeal language. And it's currently, as they do now, they would need to contact the recruiter on the job posting to request an appeal. So nothing has changed with the appeal process.
Okay, if a hiring manager posts at 2 different levels for one position, how does the hiring manager distinguish which applicants applied to which position? So if they're posting the job at 2 different levels.
More to come on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to create a scenario for that to show you the details.
Yeah, I can't roll that off the top of my head. I wish I could. But anything else at this point, or do we want to?
Do you want to show related?
Oh, yeah.
There's quite a few questions about the related content.
So on this extranet, do you have the spreadsheet?
I don't. So there's been a few questions on the related content query, and I need to leave the hiring manager role and go to the recruiter role because the hiring manager doesn't have that. So I'm going to sign out. And go back in as a recruiter. So, and just an update, I don't know, Rika, do you want to give a quick update on the affirmative action work group and where they're at in their re-engineering the hiring process? And
yes, the affirmative action work group, which as everyone probably knows, Ann Feynman, who was on our staff, has moved to DEED. And she is still heading up that work group along with Femina from Corrections, and they are trying to get that process finalized. It's been out for review, and we've been collecting input from work group members and from other individuals interested in that process. There is draft information on the extranet currently, and we will be getting you more information on that process, but until then, just continue to do what you have done in the past. They're also working on a new updated monitoring the hiring process form, and you can take a look at the extranet, and please feel free to provide input and ask questions, but we will be getting you more information on training. We'll probably do WebEx, town hall, and meetings on that as soon as we can.
so I'm waiting for my screen to open up here to show you the how to run the related content.
Maybe try search job opening. There we go.
Let's see. So I had 6 applicants here. And it's searching hard for that job. There we go. So in the upper right-hand corner, there is a link titled Related Content. And there are a number of reports or queries in here that have some great information for you. So there's the affirmative action data, applicant profiles, applicant accomplishments, applicant work experience, and employee data by job. So the first one, which is affirmative action data, and actually by clicking this on, it does run all the reports and provides tabs at the bottom. And
I have to click the gear.
Oh.
So there's a gear that is there we go.
A little minor delay. We are in a test environment, and they're currently doing a lot of testing and trying to address the other issues. So It was a little dicey moving forward with the WebEx today, but we really did want to provide you with this additional information. So the steps that you learned in training are the same. You click on the prompts, and you need to populate the, or type in the job opening ID 1422. And that will populate the chart below. Oh, whoops. Okay, well that didn't do what I wanted to do.
It's the button there. You have to click the number, Teresa, to see the full report.
There used to be a tab here.
Oh, to expand?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, one more. And then go to the far right. It's that one.
Oh, here, show all columns. Sorry. Show all columns, and it'll stretch that out, and you'll be able to see the summary. Applicants, females, minorities, Hispanic, Latino, applicants with disabilities, and protected veterans. The Hispanic Latino category is the summary of minorities, so you do not need to double count or add these two columns together. This column will be incorporated into this column. I hope that makes sense. So here you'll be able to also see for where they fall in the different, as you move them through the applicant or the progression bar here, where applicants may have been added or dropped out along the way. You can drill into this report and see more detailed information about the person. And it gives you opens up a new window. So at this point, it does give you data that you can use for continuing with the process that we have in place until the work group completes their recommendations and rolls them out to the HR community. Anything you want to add about?
No, so this is the applicant flow tool that's on the extranet. It's the spreadsheet. This is where you would get the numbers to populate the spreadsheet that's on the extranet. Running related content does not automatically populate that spreadsheet, so you'll need to enter those numbers on your own. And a note about related content, once you run the report, it's an active screen. You see how it splits the screen on the Manage Job Opening page. So when you're finished looking at the data, you need to close the related content, and that's done by clicking the little cogwheel at the right and clicking close, and then that brings you back to your full view of your Manage Job Opening page. So you can run related content on your job at any time as applicants come in.
The question, if someone applies 5 times, will they be counted 5 times in the related content report?
I believe the answer is yes. And I can verify that.
So it's based on, so you see that Teresa selected the all, she's on the all bucket. So you can try to filter that way as well.
And then where in the applicant's name data can we see what they claimed for protected status?
So when you drill into the report, that's where you would find their status. So if we go back to the affirmative action data, So of all the applicants applied, here is our I guess if you want to know about an individual, an applicant with a disability, we would go to that column.
So do you see that the reasons, if you scroll down, Teresa, you see all that applied or route and interview? So it has different numbers.
So here's, I clicked on the applicant with the disability. So here's how, if you click on the number in that column, it'll bring up that individual that had indicated on their job application that they were an individual with a disability. And here's their name, their status, gender, ethnicity, disability, and if it could be not specified for all these categories. It just depends on whatever they chose to, how they chose to identify themselves. So it's drilling into the numbers. And Ann Feynman would do a much better job at explaining this. She's been working very closely with our developer on this report. So when we roll it out, there'll be certainly a lot more training and information. Any other questions?
So there's been a couple of questions on appeals. So when an applicant is moved to the reject status, that starts their 30-day appeal. If you've notified, if you've checked that box when you run screening and it automatically notifies them, when they are rejected, if for preliminary screening, online screening, the notification does provide appeal rights and language to them on that notification. If you're rejecting that at the time of interview, I'm not sure if that letter calls about appeal rights, if they've been interviewed and then they appeal. We'll have to look into that if they're rejected at that status. After they've been, then no? Okay.
They would not have appeal rights if they were interviewed.
Right.
The appeal rights apply to they didn't meet the minimum qualifications, and we rejected them on that status.
Right. So then they can reapply if the job is still posted.
They could.
Yep. And if there's a question around if the job is no longer posted and they appeal, then we would use the PIN process or the for authorized use only to provide them with the PIN number so that they can reapply to the job that's no longer posted.
Okay, here's a question about the recruiter and reviewing supervisors' routing responses. Does the recruiter need to go into each applicant's application or route tab individually to see the supervisor's comments? Or is there a way to run a report to see all the information together?
At this time, there is not a report that can be run. You would need to go into each individual application and review it, and then once you're in the initial application, you can click next and it would move you to the next one.
Okay, what if the recruiter rejects them manually, not by screening? Can you set up an automatic appeal notification?
Automatic appeal notification. I don't believe
If you don't use screening.
If you don't use screening.
No, you would need to send them a correspondence.
Yeah. So you would select them and send correspondence. And I do think there is a template for that. To close here. Related. So send correspondence is under other actions, applicant actions, send correspondence.
And here are the templates that you may use.
Yeah, you can preview the letter before sending it, the template that you've selected.
But it prompts me that it needs a subject. And as Kirsten mentioned, all of these templates and more are available on the extranet under the temporary HR hiring toolbox. So here's your appeal rights. And there was a work group that developed all of these templates for us, made up of a number of people from various agencies. Anything else, or we can take a couple more before wrapping it up? Or
is there any way to print all the resumes on a report, like applications details?
No, there's not at this time. We have, you know, it reminds me of, you know, when Lori talks about this system, and you know, we're sort of in the infancy stage. There's a lot of room for further development, and as you start to work in the system and have requests for future enhancements, we are more than happy to receive them and consider them. And I mean, we've been in the system for quite a long time now and have made our own, what we think are enhancement requests, but it will take time, and we really wanted to get the system up and running and recognize that there's lots of room for improvement. So please feel free to send any enhancement requests to us, and we'll put them in the queue.
Will applicants who appeal be able to see the posting once it's been removed?
So applicants can go to My Activities page in their account, and when they click on the job application that they submitted, or the job title of the application, or the job posting, they will be able to view, there's a link for to view the job posting even after it's closed, and to view the job application they submitted for that vacancy. Any other questions, Rika?
Nope, I'm not seeing any other questions here.
So there are some that we may need to follow up on and get back to you individually. Otherwise, you know, please reach out to your agency services representative if you have questions or are struggling with how to deal with a particular recruitment process. If you have questions about the limited or full hiring manager view, and again, the guide will be coming soon.
Yes, thanks for your patience, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, for participating, and thanks for the nice messages. We appreciate all your feedback and input, and as Teresa said, please continue to send those to us so we can log it in our issues log and address the ones that need immediate attention. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Have a great afternoon. Happy posting.